Oh, this episode of Cinema Swirl was brought to you with the support of our fabulous backers over at patreon.com/Cinema Swirl. As always, $5 OTP backers get instant access to every single episode of our monthly exclusive bonus show, Cinema Swirl. If you want to hear me and Kevin review Howard the Duck, if you want to hear us review the Star Wars prequel trilogy, if you want to hear us review The Room, the Super Mario Brothers movie, this is the way to do it. We're 31 episodes deep. Now's a perfect time to join. Head on over to patreon.com/Cinema Swirl to find out a little bit more. And hey, why don't we start swirling?
Cinema Swirl! Wait, that's how you pronounce scun? It's episode number 81, coming to you from the bakery, the high-end bakery that is, of Hollywood, California, looking at all the glazed donuts of Hollywood movies that my OTP, Sam Chaplin, has not seen as of yet. And today I come to you, Cowboy Kevin, with a song in my heart, because it's time for another musical special.
I wanna do musicals. I wanna. Is that song from a film? Because we're not doing whatever that film ties into that song, but we're doing musicals. Musicals again. We're back around to musicals.
We're getting around to musicals, and we had a long back and forth, Sam and I, off camera, off microphone, chatting about what we would potentially.
I'm not sure I want this to be broadcast. No, we had a good chat.
We had a good chat, and we were going to put a number of musicals up for a vote, but there was something about the allure of Les Misérables. There's something about me getting my way that was simply too much for me and Sam to resist. So there was no vote. We're just doing Les Mis. Fucking yes!
It's one of those ones. Now, that's not to say we won't do another musical vote later on. There are some big musicals that we have not yet touched. We will touch them later, don't worry.
Yeah, and I don't want anyone to think now that this is an occasion where I thought there was a vote coming up, and I thought in my mind, my Irish mind, that there's no telling ye, and then you picked the wrong thing. No, this was simply a case of there's no telling me, the guy who really wanted to do Les Misérables and show Sam this epic musical adventure.
There's very few things I know about Les Misérables. One is that Kevin really fucking likes it, so I think that should be fun to talk about. Or not fun to talk about if I don't like it. Either way, entertaining content, right?
Exactly, because there's nothing we like more on Cinema Swirl than A, a musical, and B, a movie that clocks in at 2 hours, 40 minutes.
Boy!
Today's episode is brought to you by two men who have no plans for this evening other than to watch a very long musical indeed. Now, I wanted to try and probe your mind and your thoughts. Les Mis, I think it's something that it transcends just obviously movies and film because it was a pre-existing yoke.
Yeah.
I'm sure that it's come up in your orbit at some point in the last however many years.
Well, I've actually written down in advance the things that I know about Les Mis.
Okay.
And there's so few of them that I was kind of embarrassed about how little I knew about Les Mis.
But you figured it was worth writing down nonetheless.
I wanted to make sure I didn't leave out any of my little scraps of knowledge. One, I assume it translates to The Sads or The Misérables.
The Misérables.
The Misérables. I know that Hugh Jackman is in it.
Yeah.
And I know that he can sing because he's in that other film. Also,
What, Van Helsing?
Yes.
Oh man, head over to our Patreon, a big chat there, all singing, all dancing, all CG. It was amazing.
Now, I don't know about you, but one of my least favourite genres of humour is greeting card humour. Right, you know, you go into like the funny section of a Hallmark or something.
Oh, where it's like, happy birthday, Dad, and you open up, it's you fucking old piece of shit, fuck you.
That's the whole, I don't know when that started, the genre of cars that just like, you're old and shit and we hate you, cunt, and fuck you.
My particular favourite subgenre of that is, well, you're in your 20s, what are you fucking laughing at? You're just as bad as the rest of them, you fucking young, old fucking piece of shit.
Yeah, you've got you're old and shit and you're gonna die soon. Ha ha ha, fuck you. And then you've got like you're young and your future's ruined because we've ruined it. Ha 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 ha. And that's like a type
look
of humor.
further down the aisle in the card shop. That's what awaits you. And I also like the one as well where it's like, look, I know you, and there's 3 things I know about you. You love, no, I don't. No, not that either. And no, you really don't know me. Those are my favorite types of cards.
Look, with all that said, recently I saw a greetings card that had a little picture of a sloth on it, dressed up like Hugh Jackman in that film that he's in, and it said the greatest slow man. And the idea of a sloth being a slow man is very funny to me. It would just, I was like, bravo, that's good stuff for a card. You know, for a card, that's great.
So your greatest knowledge and experience of Les Mis is a card parodying a movie that happens to have one of the principal cast of this movie.
As happens often on this show, Kevin, I got sidetracked. I went down a little winding path, a little comedy avenue. But I also know that the cover art, the kind of main gimmick, is a sad little girl with a flag. Sad little girl with a flag. I don't know who she is.
What's she sad about? Brexit, is it? Or what is it?
She's one of the Misérables, isn't she? So she'll be like, waving a little flag. I think she's got something in her hand. I feel like something's waving.
What are they miserable about?
It's set in old times.
Okay, it's set in old times, so this is like historical as far as you're concerned.
And I don't want to flaunt my GCSEs, but I think from the title it's French.
Oh no, okay.
So this is oldie-timey France, where I think, and again, I know literally nothing about history ever, as we've established through
history ever. The calling card of the Englishman. I know nothing about history.
Don't know, mate.
Even the stuff I'm experiencing now, I'll not know it later on when I'm older, you know?
Yes.
I'll have a warped view of it.
Yeah, we are all living through history at the moment, and I will forget it and not remember what it was about. So she was in France in old times, this sad little girl, and I think there must be something sad going on. It might be the fault of the British. I wonder whether the British are coming in and they're the villains of the piece, as happens in so many films.
You had mentioned GCSE there, but did you learn much about like French history or anything like that? Because I know, England, they hate the Irish and, you know, the Indian subcontinent and most of the Middle East and a lot of mainland Europe, but they particularly don't like France. That's what I've gathered in recent years. And I was wondering, does that mean did you get taught about like the French Revolution and Bastille Day and Louis the 16th and all that jazz?
It was mostly World War II happened and Henry VIII had shitloads of wives. That was like the main history things that we had at school. There were probably other bits, but I don't really know much French history. Also, I like France, but I know that there's this perception that English people are like, oh, bloody French, you know, so.
You've had more than a few wars, as far as I know, you know.
Yes, we have. So that, I think, might come into it. I think the British have probably done something wrong here and have made the French miserable, maybe in old times. As we all want to do.
I love the arrogance of the Englishmen just assuming that another colonial power, they're going to be kicking them around. Like, of course, of the 2 colonial powers, Britain is going to be bullying the other one, like, you know.
Well, I don't know. That's my best guess. In so many of these period pieces, the antagonist, the villain, is usually British people in it. It's the British coming over and fucking shit up.
It's
so I
British against France, and Algeria's like, yay, go on. Shut up, I'll be coming over there next. Let's be having you, Algeria.
The only other thing I know...
Do you know any other cast members? Think carefully now. It's a musical, and, you know that Hugh can sing, but there's some other people in there who may be a little bit more eyebrow-raising, let's just say.
What's his face? Oh, God. I know him. I know who he is.
Crowe. Never mind his face. What's his name?
Russell Crowe is in it. And little Reddy Bedtime. What's it? Eddie Redmayne is in it.
It's Eddie Reddybreck. Would you give him his proper name? And he was up there in Hollywood with that glow around him, and people thought, you know what, he could probably film until 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you know, and his mum was so proud in his smart little coat and everything that he had, and his wool mittens.
His nice buckled shoes. What a nice boy. He's in it.
Okay.
Russell Crowe's in it. Hugh Jackman's in it. The Susan Boyle song is in this. So
the Susan Boyle. What is the Susan Boyle song?
I dreamed a dream of time gone by, England. I don't know the rest of it, but I know that.
You know that much.
I mean, that's from Les Mis. I don't know if she makes a cameo. That seems like that would be fair, because she kind of popularised it.
Do you know who sang the song in the movie that we're about to watch?
No.
Okay. No. Interesting. Okay, so
scoring goals.
I am left here kind of mouth a bit agape at, usually I come in expecting you to not know much about the movie itself, but it was kind of what not knowing about the kind of the other stuff like
history?
France and history and all that may have sidetracked me a little bit. Tell you what, let's get our hands back on the wheel, whip out that mailbag.
Welcome back to the mailbag. Now, look, I know what I said last time.
Yeah, you were Les Misérables yourself last time, huh?
I implied that the mailbag might be going away since then, which some people might have
threatened.
Some people might have read as a threat, and if I didn't get any more mail, I'd be stroppy, take my ball, go home, not do any more mailbag, you ain't having no more mailbag. And that worked an absolute treat, because there's been lots of messages coming in to cinemaswirl@gmail.com this time.
But, just that's cinemaswirl@gmail.com, but, there's still an air that this bag may go AWOL, I'm just saying that. There's a tension that's in the room at the moment that would imply you need to keep sending high quality pieces of mail to cinemaswirl@gmail.com.
Like me, when I've been to Morrison's, there is absolutely some bag tension here. Like I've loaded it up too much with my little bag for life. Now, we had a message in the other week from a fella called John over on the Patreon, patreon.com/cinemaswirl. He asked a question.
Oh, Patreon John, as we like to call him.
And so he asked this question, and then later on was listening to the Bloodsport episode and thought, oh, well, I've asked Sam a question. I checked those messages on Patreon. I've asked Sam a question. Maybe they'll bring it up on the mailbag. And not only did we not bring it up on the mailbag, I also threatened to close down the entire mailbag, which John,
that was extreme.
John was saying he was listening to this in the car with his partner, and they found it very funny that they're like, oh, maybe they'll read our question. Oh, they're not doing questions anymore at all. But
how bad was this question? Jesus, what's he asking now?
Well, I wanted to air John's question out of fairness, because I feel like that was quite unfair. It's one of our kind of admin swirl questions here. It's like, have you seen this? Why ain't you done this? But I like those questions sometimes. John's question is as follows. He said some very nice things about us. What's with the covering of all things space, but complete disregard for those things Trek? Wrath of Khan clearly fits the swirl criteria, and there's even a trilogy there if you really wanted to. Is this because Sam has seen them? And that's from John. Now, I haven't seen any Star Trek. Are you Trek knowledgeable? Trek adjacent?
I am absolutely not Trek knowledgeable.
Okay.
That being said, I have seen Wrath of Khan. I have seen that. And I just kind of, I have this feeling in my head that if we were to go in and do a Star Trek movie where the person who has already seen it, could take it or leave it, honestly. No, it just, I didn't get in when the getting was good, and now I'm overwhelmed. And I unfortunately have seen the J.J. Abrams Star Treks as well, which kind of told my head that I've done it now and I don't need to go further into the surface. And there's also a small part of me that thinks that when there's a large gaping hole in my knowledge, that there's a potential for a podcast spin-off in its own right there.
True.
You know what? It's honestly never come up because it's not a movie or a franchise that I have a lot of like nostalgia for. Or I'm not going to say I don't have love for it, but I don't think I have the requisite appreciation to do it the justice for you and also for you at home listening who like Star Trek.
What a diplomatic answer. I really like that a lot.
Sure, there's no telling you, is there? There's no telling you at all.
I didn't know that about Kevin. I genuinely didn't know the answer to that question until asking Kevin just now. I say this with the greatest amount of personal respect to you, Kevin. I think from me knowing you and your whole vibe...
Here comes.
I had no... It could very easily go either way in terms of Star Trek. I could completely believe you were mad into Star Trek. I could completely believe no interest in Star Trek at all. You know what I mean? Know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely, because anyone I know who likes Star Trek fucking loves Star Trek. But anyone I know who loves Star Trek also is able to compartmentalize that into this small little kernel that can be unfurled at appropriate occasions if they find a fellow Star Trek head.
Sorry, Kevin, that small little kernel is called Spock. I think you need to...
never rose to the rank of colonel. He was only a captain, for fuck's sake. But I will say, in my experience, I respect the restraint of the fandom of Star Trek fans, because theirs is a fandom that comes with a great deal of extra knowledge, which can overwhelm a laissez-faire Star Trek fan. When I've mentioned to friends of mine who are passionate about Star Trek that, yeah, I've watched one or two of the movies, they went, that's good, and they've smiled and they've moved on, because they know not to burden me with their extra fandom. And I find like there's very few things where there's a fandom of that level of passion, but also that level of self-awareness. And I'm speaking entirely only from my experience. I apologize to anyone who's been burdened with the fandom of anything.
So probably not likely in the near future that we'll delve into the world of Trek, but it's an interesting world to possibly maybe think about exploring at some point. Who knows?
I'm not opposed to it. I'm not opposed to it. But I've just said now, I've had a lot of experience with very respectful Star Trek fans, and I feel like I might completely undo that by then doing a fucking laissez-faire review of Star Trek The Wrath of Khan, where I'm like, I don't know, this fucking shit. Who cares?
Yeah. So neither of us are especially passionate about it. That doesn't mean it's ruled out, though. Yeah. So maybe. We'll see. Thank you very much for that, John, and sorry for completely leaving it out and closing the fucking mailbag. Next question comes in from Martin, who asks the following. Dear Kevin and Sam, I've recently been experimenting with roast chicken. Full stop, end of message. No. The first was under-crisped. The second, with an overly mild flavour. These experiences reminded me of Kevin's pride in his roast chicken. I was wondering if Kevin was willing to share his top tips when it came to roasting a chicken.
Oh, I mean...
This is a film review podcast.
This is a great question. This is just for me, this is. I'm very happy. I will say this is a film review podcast, but there's another podcast I'm on now where we're meant to be reviewing Kitchen Nightmares. It's called It's Raw. It's on the Podcrabs channel. And it's basically just an excuse for me to talk about food, pretty much. So go check that out if you want more food content. But I'm pretty sure the precedent's been set in Cinema Swirl. I did teach people how to reheat pizza in a pan here. And as such, we're ready for the next stage of your cooking adventure, which is roasting an entire chicken. If it was under crisp, the first thing you need to do is make sure that oven is super goddamn hot. I'm talking hotter than you think it would need to be. You want to pat it dry first. Ideally, leave it out in the fridge, uncovered, somewhere separate from your veggies and all that, overnight with some salt on it to draw out more of that moisture, because most chickens that you and I will be having, Sam, are pumped full of that water stuff, which is, I like to call, an anti-crisping agent.
So getting that water out.
Get that water out of here. Get out of there. Get that salt in. Give the salt time to get in. Next day, give it a little bit of a pat down with paper towels, salt, pepper, maybe, and a little spridge of oil. Stick into the oven, super high temperature. Add in any gubbins you want. Like, go in for some garlic if you like garlic. Go in for some lemon if you like lemon. But it'll be fine just as is with a little bit of salt and pepper and a bit of oil on it if it's a nice chicken. I'd say go find a roast calculator online where you can put in how big your chicken is and it'll tell you exactly how long to cook it for. But I will say, having it extra super hot at the start to crisp it up, and then you can always take it back down and go a little bit longer. And the best thing you can ever do in the world of chicken is invest in a thermometer, because, you know, you just need to know these things.
One of those ones you just jab into it, they go...
Boom, right in there. Pierce the flesh. Excellent. Let me know how you get on.
Yeah, and look, if anyone else wants to cook a chicken, also let us know how you get on with cooking a chicken.
Look, when God closes the mailbag, he opens up a big bucket of chicken. That's pretty much established.
Are we spatchcocking here? Are we spatchcocking this guy?
That's how I would go normally, but I didn't want to be getting into some hardcore splitting a bird in twain and, you know, severing the head and removing the brain and the spinal column. But ideally, spatchcock, but only if you've got the confidence to do it.
Can I shock you, Kevin? I spatchcocked a chicken once.
Good job.
I was so proud of myself that I've never done it again.
What?
I just did it once. And I was like, I fucking done it.
The best argument that can be made for spatchcocking a chicken is that when you've done 3 or 4 in a row, like I have recently, and then you go into your freezer, you can feel like the Predator looking at all of your collection of spines going, like, you know, you're fucking next, Arnold.
All right. Thank you very much for your questions into cinemaswirl@gmail.com.
That's cinemaswirl@gmail.com or the socials.
We had plenty of good stuff. There's going to be more to eke out through the week. So mailbag maybe not going away anytime soon, but it could.
Are you rationing mail? Is that what's happened now?
I think so. But look, it could go away at any point. So keep them coming in. cinemaswirl@gmail.com.
cinemaswirl@gmail.com.
Wrapped up.
Well, Sam, I think it's time for us to... that's me blowing into one of those little pipes that determines the pitch of the entire song that is about to be sung. Sam, let's go sing and do a cinema swirl. react. Initial gut react.
I watched a film and time went by upon a lovely sunny evening. 2 hours 40 stuck inside. And for the time I've lost, I'm grieving. I mean, come on. Slog.
Now, I didn't know when the right time to tell you would be. Is there is, for the first time ever, a recommended man cut of this movie, right? It is out there, okay? It does exist. And what it is you watch up until Eddie Redmayne comes in, and then you go, fuck it. And you just... Because you've had all the best bits, pretty much. And then you've got essentially a 90-minute Bobby Dazzler of a flick. But you know what? I will say it for everyone at home. I did watch the whole thing. I went against my own instincts, yeah? I watched the whole thing because I knew you would as well.
Thank you.
And unfortunately found myself gaining a new appreciation for the part that I usually skipped. So I'm not thinking that you and I are on the same page here today, Sam.
Not as of yet. Look, sometimes you've won me round to thinking that films I didn't enjoy were good. Good luck with that. What I'll do is
I'll incorrectly sing at you until you change your mind, so I will.
That was a long time.
Did you watch it all one go?
Yeah, all the way through.
Now, normally this is the type of thing where I would suggest snacks or something like that, but Les Mis on a weeknight, you probably had to work in like one of your meals in there, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I started post-dinner.
Oh!
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know if that was wise, but I didn't want to be stopping halfway through to make dinner and then come back to it. So I had dinner pre-film.
I've had to put my hand on my trigger finger there because it felt like, that's a terrible idea. You shouldn't watch Les Mis with a belly full of dinner.
Dinner and a show!
But every single time I have watched Les Mis has not only been in a dinner environment, it's usually been in a post-Christmas dinner, or at least festive dinner environment. So there's a good chance there's around 15 to 20% of this movie I've never actually seen because I've been asleep. Well, I watched this one like a fucking hawk this time. This was probably the first actual viewing of Les Mis, even though I've watched it 7 times before.
You like Les Mis, though. You really like Les Mis. I know that about you.
I do.
Do you really? Do you really like it?
I do. And then tell you what, Sam, I shock myself every single time I say that. And I take great joy in the fact that, I can't believe it. Yeah, that's right. This guy likes Les Misérables. Yeah, fucking hot controversial take in 2021.
Not like ironically or for a bit of fun to be like, let's watch this thing that I don't... You just sincerely, that's your jam.
Honestly, the first time I watched it, it was kind of folded arms of like, all right, I'll watch it now. And then like what happens with these musicals, they get in underneath you like kind of a little bit of a scratch and an itch, and all of a sudden some of those, you realize all those bits that were put in the background over and over, doing the same song over and over, over and over and over and over. And when that happens so much that all of a sudden you've no choice, it's not even like you're humming an actual, just part of you, and it scratches away at your brain. And then I started watching like videos like YouTube poops and stuff making fun of it. And then I went and I watched it again and again and again and again and again one more time. And it's had a cumulative effect on me. Now, I don't want to compare it to The Sopranos, which I would also say has a cumulative effect. But I was singing to bits that I hadn't even remotely anticipated. I was there cheering Eddie Redmayne on with the rest of them. Go on, Marius, sing another song.
Go on, mate. Yeah, come on.
It had the seeds of it being me liking it ironically or as a piss take. But like, I'm only kidding myself if I'm like, oh yeah, I'm ironically singing along and trying to know all the words I can. I genuinely just love it.
Well, it's like me saying mate or watching football. It's now just a thing that I do.
And look, I don't want to time date this episode too much, but we are recording on the 15th of July, 2021, and I know there's a big soccer match coming up for you, Sam.
Yeah, can't wait for it.
And I just wanted to say best of luck from all of us over in Sure, Southern Ireland, we'll let you call it that now because it's your big day coming up and I don't want to be making fun now.
Thank you very much. I hope it goes well and I wish those boys all the best.
Yeah, best of luck in their future endeavours. I'm genuinely excited for them. It's a great side, so I hear.
Good side, good squad. So, let's get into some Les Mis.
Let's get into some 1815. That's right, we're going back in time.
Now, we may have rushed into a few things in the prequel. I didn't realise this being a musical, it was like a musical, as in like everything's sung, everything.
As opposed to like, hey, it's a musical, but I'm just going to talk for a little bit and then start singing in a different voice. No. Every single, like, it's to the point where the bits that they don't sing
are exceptions.
Every one of them make me laugh. Every time someone's like, no, you have to sign that. Like someone goes, no, don't sing that bit, but the other 85% do, please.
Because the other musicals we've watched, and I think any other musical I've watched, I don't think I've seen a musical that's pure singing everything all the way through. I thought that's what an opera was, but I might be confused. That musicals are maybe up to interpretation as to how much singing and non-singing there is, but this is singing all the way through, all the way down.
Oh yeah, opera is officially just a musical that Frasier likes. Other than that, there's nothing really to it. No. I will say, I will defend this movie up and down to my dying breath, but let's all be honest, it is to a fault the commitment to singing almost every single bit. It is to a fault.
But we have like rhythmic grunting. And I know this is all based on the musical, so when we're talking about the film, we're talking about the musical as well, I guess. And we're straight into songs.
Did you have subtitles on for this so you could follow what was being said and grunted?
I did, and it was like karaoke, because I've realised like that there's not subtitles, it's just lyrics throughout the whole fucking thing.
No, it would have been lyrics if the subtitles lit up in a highlighted light slowly as it went along.
A little bouncy Javert going on each way.
Look down at my bouncing little heads. And now here's the problem, right?
Yeah.
Because every bit is sung in this, all right? And we have all these lads, they're these poor rotters who are caught in prison. They have to bring in this big old ship and it's all wet and horrible and grunting and chains, singing about how it's shit and how everything's crap and rubbish. And I tried to kind of just summarize what's going on with a few jotted notes here and there. But what I've basically done is just make my own YouTube poop in my own comments here, because it's just 24601, your parole has begun. I stole a loaf of bread and I'm Javert. And that's kind of the first scene of them.
That's the fucking movie.
But he stole a loaf of bread.
My name is Javert, don't forget my name. That is me, I am this character, Javert.
Come on, you gotta have a bit of love for Javert.
Look, I like Javert. I like saying Javert like that character in The Simpsons saying chowder. Like, Javert!
How about Jean Valjean?
Jean Valjean, also a fun name to say.
Oh, Jean Valjean. Jean Michel Jean, as I often call him by mistake.
And when writing a little bit about the background of the characters, you mentioned there about the bread stealing. Autocorrect has played a blinder here because I put Hugh only stole a load of bread, not a loaf of bread.
Oh, no, fairness.
He's got a handful of bread. I only stole a load of bread.
5 years for the first loaf of bread you stole, and then another 15 for the load of other breads that you stole. It was far too much bread, but my sister loves bread.
So he's a criminal, he stole some bread, but he tried to leave. He's on parole now, which means...
which is rubbish. It's worse than being a prisoner. You don't even have the camaraderie of the baseline when you're on parole.
Is it like house arrest, but also you've got to carry around a little bit of paper to show everyone to be like, I'm a dangerous criminal and you can't trust me, so I can't get a job or live anywhere.
Yeah, you have a special itinerary, which you must follow to the letter. And it basically says where you have to go. And he tells them as well, you're going to starve again, by the way, because you don't appreciate the rule of law. And that's what Javert's all about. He loves the law. It's his fucking favourite.
He doesn't seem to be too into the sort of Reformation aspect of justice here.
It's 1815. Come on now, you know?
Well, I suppose he does get a bit morally puzzled about it later on, but at this point he's just thinking, you're a bad man, you'll always be a bad man, you're going to have a shit time. It's actually going to be worse than this prison bit that you've done now, because you're out there and everyone knows you're a bad man. So off you go into the world.
Were you surprised that no one actually uttered the phrase or the term Les Misérables at any point? Because that would be a good point here when Jean Valjean looking at his bogus paroles. Like, I'm basically Les Misérables here, folks. That's my... I forget Jean Valjean. He's
That's
dead.
his new name.
It's Les Misérables.
Oh, yeah, the main character, Les Misérables.
Les Misérables. He does forgo his name and take on an assumed identity. Jean Valjean, Jean Valjean, JVJ, Jean-Claude Valjean.
Yes.
He assumes a new identity shortly thereafter.
Yeah.
He's going around like looking for solace, peace of mind. He finds himself in the company of priests who are the greatest type of priests because they're there to share their wares. There is wine to revive you, bread to make you strong. And Jean Valjean's like, don't get me started on the bread now. Because the last slice of that now put fucking 20 years on me, you know?
Sorry, what was that you've got to make me strong? my ears are burning. It's my favourite. Bread, I've got loads of it.
And that's why it's a difficult post-dinner meal as well, particularly post-roast dinner meal. Lots of mention of bread. Yeah. And, you know, I hope you didn't have like a sauce-laden plate somewhere that was like, you know, toying havoc on your mind because of all this mention of bread to make you strong.
But he's welcomed in by this lovely bishop, I think. And look, the old instincts kick in. He's nicking stuff. You know, well, not instincts. He's got to survive. The man's got to survive.
He both looks like me and acts like me in like Morrowind or Skyrim or anything like that. He's just like, oh yeah, I'm going to chat to you, give you the business. My speech is 9, mate. Give me all that silver. Yes, please. And then I'm going to go and have a little cry afterwards. And you can't stop me.
I do like how he immediately gets caught. It sort of cuts to the police dragging him back. But like, this bloke's been nicking all your stuff. But the nice bishop says that he gave it to him and lets him have the silver to become an honest man. So
start over, fresh start, you know. He's literally been given a second and a third chance here, and we're not even at the end of Act 1. So the man's on a bit of a rocket ship of a journey here tonight.
And I don't know what Hugh Jackman's accent is meant to be when he sort of talks. It's a bit all over
Hugh
the shop.
Jackman, I'll tell you what it is. It's Aragon at the Black Gate. I see in your eyes the same fear that would take the heart of me. Let the Lord of the Black Land come forth. Now I've become Irish.
There is a little twinge of Irish in there, isn't there?
It's like myself, his accent is situationally dependent.
Yeah. And he wants to escape from the world of Jean Valjean. He's tearing up his papers and everything, throwing them to the wind. It's all very intense. I've realised something with this film. The songs, the issue with that is they take away from me really paying any attention to the craft of the filmmaking for the most part.
It looks beautiful. Like, come on. Those big sweeping shots of him on the mountains and like in the shipyard at the start. It is an epic looking thing now. One of the most epic looking movies we've had on here in a long time.
I would say so, and I kind of want to say as like a blanket statement, it looks great. The film looks great. Some of the shots are really great. The kind of tracking shots of people's faces in particular.
Yeah, all right with your barbed criticism, your disguised wolf in sheep's clothing compliments. Oh no, the musical looks very good. It does, you know, it looks very good, doesn't it? Shame about the music
but
of the musical.
The song, I'm not saying the songs are bad, but they kind of distract my attention away from, you know, appreciating the craft of the filmmaking.
I think the songs kind of grind you down a little bit, don't they?
Yeah.
They almost have a relentlessness to them, the songs in this.
Oh, because they're going on throughout the whole thing and you don't get a single moment to sort of catch your breath and go, oh, a non-song bit. Okay, let's wait a minute.
Like, if you were in the theatre, they try and sell you some booze at half-time and get you out of your seat and move around a little bit, you know?
Or at least you'd be able to applaud to shut them up for like a few moments and have the respite of clapping your hands. So 8 years later, after he's torn up his papers, he's escaping the world of Jean Valjean. He's no longer Jean Valjean. He's breaking his parole. And there's some ladies working in a factory.
Oh, I love this song, the Song of the Poor. At the end of the day, we got with him out now. We're meant to be friends, but we're from North Cumberside. Oi!
Oi!
A lot of times, someone's like, oh, we're doing just like this thing about poor English people in like the turn of the century in the 1800s, right? No, it's meant to be France. You're doing it all. That's a factually wrong accent.
I know, but look, it's fun to have a bit of a knees up from time to time. There's a couple of those in this. So these ladies are working in a factory. Hugh, who I know it's Jean Valjean. I refer to him as Hugh throughout this whole thing. He now is the owner of this factory. He's running the whole business.
Yes, and he and Javert both have new hats, which is like how at this early portion of the movie we mark the passage of time. I have a new hat, and I also have a new brim.
Don't forget my hat, the hat of Javert.
And these lads, they would be button heads, but it's actually the hats are clashing like a lightsaber duel essentially at this point, you know. There's a lot of kind of big hat behaviour, for lack of a better term.
Javert's in this town as the new chief of police. So he's kind of peeking in through the window, seeing what's going on. Also, Anne Hathaway, she's
Fontaine,
here.
yeah.
Fontaine. She's got a secret child who is with some people looking after the child.
Did you notice how the banter, like all the air went out of the room when they're all like, at the end of the day, I'm taking your note. Way, let's have a look and see what's about. Oh, look, sorry, Anne Hathaway here's got, oh, she's got a bit, oh.
One woman in the background like, way!
Sing about the foreman having a boner again.
Oh yeah, the foreman's a pervy bastard.
He is. He's handsy. He's busy with his hands. So yeah, Anne Hathaway, she's living this hard life here. She's pretty much she's pretty much more Les Miserables, is what I'm saying.
All right, what's the issue with her having this child? Is it an out of wedlock situation and that's frowned upon, or is it just this scandal of it, or...
So what it is her beau, whom she fell in love with, and the problem is a lot of the exposition happens in very emotional, powerful songs, which it's like, you know, you're not going to be taking on a lot of the info. But what it is that she had a child with this lad, and then the lad didn't like her anymore because he thought she was getting long in the tooth. So he gets and finds himself a new young bride and takes the child with, and she sends money to pay for the child to keep up her end. So it is pretty much more or less a Misérables situation top to bottom.
But I don't understand why all her co-workers are not expressing sympathy, but are more like, get her fucking sacked. Get her out. We don't like her anymore. She's got a secret kid. Get rid of her.
I think it's because we all like her hair. We have to pull her down because of her nice hair. And it's typical behaviour of the French British, who I find to be the most loathsome of all European races.
Yes. And meanwhile, Javert is introducing himself to new posh factory-owning Hugh.
I'm not Jean Valjean, I swear.
I'm this other man. And
Javert's pretty much like, here now. You are so fucking obviously Jean Valjean. You know, he's pretty much as it's sussed out straight away. He's got the bones and the instincts of a crime hound, you know?
Yeah, he's like, I think I've met you. And Hugh's just like, I wouldn't forget your face because you've got a distinctive face. So I'll
tell you what, I appreciate someone who can smooth talk his way out of a situation in slightly off-key song, because it's like... It's very upsetting to be like, no, it's not who you think it is. And him also be able to let him down gently like that, even though there are points, particularly with Hugh and Russell, where one or both of them is just out of tune. And that comes from me, a non-musical boy whatsoever.
I don't know if any of that is deliberate or not, but there are bits where it's just, it doesn't feel like it belongs with the music. I've not seen the music, well, obviously I've not seen the musical itself performed, so I don't know if that's part of it. But
as you're a musician, does that mean you have a sensitive ear where you're like, if you hear like, you know, out of tune, not nice sounding bits?
For any sort of dissonance or things like that, or arrhythmic bits, yeah, I do a little bit.
Any flare-ups in this one then?
Not too many, not too much bad stuff. I think, as you mentioned before, the bits where people don't sing and they talk are like, yay! Like, I genuinely was like excited by that. Also, quick note here, Hugh rescues a lad who was trapped under a cart.
Oh, yeah.
In doing so, he's kind of doing the same lifting motion that he did when he was working as a slave.
And also Javert, he hears the brah, 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 brah. Like, feats of strength are one thing, but the accompanying fucking harmonic orchestra, it's a dead giveaway. Subtle, you know, come on.
Also, I don't know with this how much the singing, it's weird, there's no distinction between singing that's external but in someone's head and singing that's external and other people can hear it. Like sometimes people are singing things that they're thinking, but other people can't hear it. And other times everyone can hear what everyone's singing.
All right,
because
Jean Valjean's not being subtle, but Javert, who literally sings in front of everything, I don't believe what I see. Yeah, they're gonna hear you, man. They're gonna know.
Look, Javert's suspicious. He's onto him. Meanwhile, Anne Hathaway kicked out of the factory. She's been sacked. She's down at the docks with a bunch of sex workers and the sailors coming in who have been away.
Lovely ladies looking for a poke. Here, calm down. Just a fucking joke.
Yeah, it was a grotty song is what it is.
It's a grotty song. Now, she's selling her hair.
Also, I'm like 50% sure that lovely ladies hungry for a poke is an actual line in this song.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lovely ladies, I'm just a bloody bloke. She's selling her hair for 10 francs. This is generally very sad, the hair cutting scene.
Hair for cash, yeah, because she's like, I have to do it fast if you want the money. If it's a rough cut.
Now look, I know there's movie special effects, right? But I sort of suspect that's Anne Hathaway getting her hair cut. Or she at least had her hair actually cut for the film. I don't know if the actual cutting scene was actually cutting of the hair.
I've had my hair razored before.
Right, yeah.
Right? And it is a fucking nightmarish experience. And just looking at you're right, the way it's being cut, and it's either that's the greatest goddamn, prosthetic hair job that has ever been done. Amazing job. That deserved an Oscar as well. Or Anne Hathaway, who did win an Oscar for her upcoming song for this. Well deserved. Like, that is some serious goddamn hair shear in action. And it's not a pretty sight, folks. And in case you're wondering, the reason it happened is because I had an over-eager hairdresser in Mullingar, County Westmeath, who assured me, age 16, that what he was doing was happening in Milan. And I never followed through.
Go. I don't mind that, actually. Well, this is what's happened in Milan.
Boys are crying in Milan because their haircut was too sore.
So whatever's happened with the haircutting scene and Anne Hathaway's face and expressions, it's very emotional. Either way, phenomenal stuff. Now, she's also selling her teeth. And I've got a question for you. Who's buying teeth? Who's buying teeth? Are they putting the teeth in their own mouths?
Lovely ladies looking for some teeth. I like to eat bowls and bowls of teeth.
Well,
they've got peculiar tastes, these French-British.
Also, that song has the same rhythm as Oompa Loompa from Old Men, Young Men. Every kind has come.
Oompa Loompas looking for a poke is just now in there, and damn that relentless song. Damn it.
Poor men, rich men, leaders of the land, see them with their trousers off, they're never quite as grand.
Oh, there's poetry there now, come on. I also like the melodrama when she's laid down with this soldier for this horribly awkward sexual encounter and then casually asks if he's ever had sex with someone already dead.
Yeah.
Oh my God almighty.
So this is when the whole can everyone hear what everyone's singing thing came up. Because, look, if I was about to have sex with someone, regardless of the situation, and just beforehand they said, lying on a bed, just as well they never see, the hate that's in your head, don't they know they're making love to one already dead? I think that would put me off.
What if it was like a sexy Halloween party and someone was role-playing as a zombie, Sam, okay?
Then maybe.
But that's not what's happening here. I'm a good percentage sure that's not what's happening here. Look, I'm going to say it. I dreamed a dream. Goddamn, I dreamed a dream that someone could sing a song as good as Anne Hathaway sings this song. And maybe someone could drum a drum quite as good as this. But no, this is sheer 5-star perfection, chef's kiss.
I popped hard for the Susan Boyle Britain's Got Talent song. Good stuff. Enjoyed it.
You know what? Very happy to announce I never, ever, ever, during all Susan Boyle mania and all of that, I never once heard the song until I finally watched this movie. However many years ago it was with Joe for the first time. And I'm always very happy when something like can be very prominently in the cultural zeitgeist and to not have participated. I'm glad because it savoured it. I didn't think of Susan Boyle once when I listened to this song. I just thought, What a great song by Anne Hathaway there. And no shame to Susan Boyle, but I like to keep my cultural lanes separate here. And this is Les Mis, not a Britain's Got Talent situation.
No, although I think Anne Hathaway would do very well on Britain's Got Talent.
Oh, it'll be a yes, you've got talent from me, Kevin, who has definitely watched that show.
I'd go as far as to push my golden buzzer if
is that a made-up thing? Is that
that's a thing now.
That's a thing.
That's a thing. The judges all have a golden buzzer that they can press once, I think, that fast-tracks someone through to the semi-finals or the finals.
And if you press your golden buzzer, does Paddy McGuinness still, ask people if they want to have a shift with you or anything like that?
Sure, I think so.
That one, Take Me Out, where Paddy McGuinness is like, will you shift him? And she goes, no. And then he turns around over his shoulder, will any of you shift him then? And then one of them says, yeah, all right. And then they film it.
Yeah, that's...
I've been to Pizza Hut. I know the brand.
You know. Look, very moving performance, genuinely. The close-up on Anne Hathaway's crying face as she's singing this was very moving. I couldn't help but think, though, the situation she's in with the money that she needs for the child, this unfortunately was pre-GoFundMe,
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
She can't crowdfund her way out of this, which is a real shame.
Thanks a lot, Obama. God. And I love as well that she sings such a powerful song that it literally causes a ruckus that brings, of course, the police. Sure, only it's Javert showed up with the best bit of song in the entire goddamn movie. Tell me the full story. Tell me who, what, when, and where. Let him give him a full description. Let him answer to Javert. Yes! He's saying what he's doing with song.
He loves saying his own name, Javert. He loves referring to himself in the third person. I am Javert. I'm being Javert. I
don't know why. When I watch this, I'm convinced that somehow this is a great educational delivery system waiting to happen. Like, if you wanted kids to find out about historical figures for science or English or history or whatever, get them a musical like this, it'll stick. Seriously, better than any mind map.
Well, I definitely remember the name Javert. I couldn't help but remember that.
He told you, remember the name.
Name Javert! So Anne, she scratches a pervy man. Javert's getting the whole report of what's happened, but Hugh's here to save the day, and it's kind of like sad that he didn't know about Anne's situation and the child, and he wants to help.
I just realised as well that he does have a name here at the moment, Jean Valjean. He is Monsieur Mayor, as we forgot to mention.
Is it just Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor. It's
Mayor.
Just Mayor. It's okay.
Right, next scene / song, because we don't have scenes anymore, we've just got songs, we've got a track list. Javert comes to Hugh to apologise for mistaking him for Jean Valjean because someone's been caught and is going to court for being the escaped Jean Valjean.
Which means that he has disgraced the uniform he wears. It's great. You see how broken up he is about doing this wrong. Yeah. And I like that you get to see now Jean Valjean shows him a little bit of mercy. That's what gives away the game in the end, is that mercy, the trademark mercy. And he could have been a bastard as Monsieur Mayor, because like Monsieur Mayor already sounds like a baddie, doesn't it? Like, so he would have had a much better cloak of disguise to be a bad. You have a twirly mustache, Monsieur Mayor. He's that fucking Monsieur Mayor. Let me tell you about him,
But he's got a good heart, and that's the thing.
He has to pray as well, supposed good guy Jean Valjean. He has to pray and be like, should I fuck this random man over? It would be really convenient if I would.
If I speak, I am condemned. If I stay silent, I am damned. It's a real damned if you do, condemned if you don't situation for Jean Valjean here. He doesn't know what to do.
Have you ever angrily declared a number to the heavens like 24601? Have you ever been like, my pin code?
I've watched Lost, so I've been saying 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42. Plenty of times.
Look, I thought you'd be loving this. There's numbers in it, like you like from your show, and he's all upset about it.
And I do love him bursting into court, saying that he's 24601. And I love the little blurry background shot of fake Hugh Jackman. The guy who's like been caught. This is kind of
He should have been coming in like, I am. Wait a minute, he looks nothing like me. That's insulting to my brand.
But meanwhile, just after going into court to say, I'm that convicted prisoner, I'm that guy, I'm in trouble now, he then goes to Anne Hathaway to be like, Your child will want for nothing. I'm going to look after your child and make sure everything's fine for your child. Big claims from a guy who's just gone into court and said, yeah, I'm that criminal. Sorry, guys.
I would like an accomplice. Give me your child. I don't know. Javert would have been a better guardian at this point, and he's less than an ideal guardian either, you know? I don't know.
It's a tough one. Anne Hathaway sadly passes away here with the character of Fontaine.
Fontaine.
Yeah, she's gone. I thought that was an early departure, considering how much...
that was the main thing that struck with me. Like, the first 3 times I watched this movie, I was like, it's only half an hour in, and she's dead.
She's gone.
Did she get a full Oscar still for that? That was not like... I'm not saying you should put asterisk by there, but it was always very shocking, her brief departure in this. Because this was always like bandied around with people I knew as, the Anne Hathaway musical. Come on now. It's 2 guys, one of whom can't really sing. That's the bulk of the song. I know it's a pre-existing musical. Could have done with more of Anne Hathaway in this movie.
Could have done, but to be fair, she comes in, she delivers a great performance, she shuffles off, you know?
That's why she's so memorable. You come in, you lay it out, you get the hell out of there. Someone else looking after your kid now.
And if this had been a normal length film, that wouldn't have felt quite as shocking because it, there'd have been less time to go on without that character, but there's still loads of time left in this film. After the admission that Hugh is 24601, Javert, of course, is here.
The confrontation! This is the best scene! Oh my God. You wear a different chain. This is fucking great. They have their sword fight very slowly. You know nothing of Javert. I was born with scum like you. I am from the gutter too. Then fucking calm down, man. Come on. Don't be such a prick.
Do you know nothing of Javert? I was born inside a jail. So, wow, a little bit of backstory.
Jail there, more like, am I right? He is a jail in a sense, you know?
So I think that's why he's so conflicted about his commitment to the law and to the, justice and all that kind of thing. It's one of those situations. It's complex.
He's the original Judge Dredd. There, I said it, okay? It's what it is, all right? It's what it is. Now, one of the bits I really hate happens right after this exceptional moment, which is we start getting songs from Little Cassette. Mommy said that I sing too. Oh, come on. Up. Come on now, get more energy. Come on.
This is sad little girl from the cover waving the little thing. I don't know. I still don't know if she's waving a flag. I haven't looked at the cover again. But the little girl from the start, from the cover, I mean, this Cosette singing a little song. It's not great, is it?
No, I don't. But like, it's not just that I don't like the child's singing. I don't like the. It's wish up. Stop complaining.
But we've got Helena Bonbon Carter.
Yeah.
She's hey.
Bad foster parent. And I'll tell you something for nothing. Her child looks great in that blue hat. Let me say, that was what a look.
It's very theatrical expression of the relationship between her and Cosette and her own daughter. Because it's like, oh, Cosette, what are you doing? Stop singing, you bloody mug. Oh, Ebony, oh, you're so beautiful in your hat. I love you so much. I hate you, Cosette, you fucking piece of shit.
And wee where it's none other than Borat. He's in the house and he's here with his. This is the funny thing. This whole setup. There's a camera over there. You dum-dums. Comes in. The guy's like, I believe in QAnon. He starts, pissing in his wine and stuff like that. Oh, it's great. This bit. It was really funny.
So much funny stuff from Borat here.
Stitched them up, mate. It's what it is. This is a fucking. You have to like this song now. Come on.
I do like this song. I wrote finally a fun song. Also, this is like a who's who of Sweeney Todd, the Tim Burton one, isn't it? You got those guys were in that.
I've never seen old Sweeney T.
Oh, the Tim Burton one I have seen and I do quite enjoy, and it is a musical.
Look, folks, I used to go to a Spar to pick up sausage rolls across the road from a barber's in Skegness called Sweeney Todd's Barbers, and it was themed after the Tim Burton movie, and it had pictures, and it should be there 365 days a year, keeping to that theme. And I thought, I saw that so many times because I did eat a lot of sausage rolls and still do. And that's as good as I've seen the movie. I've seen people getting their haircuts from across the road in a themed environment.
And especially to eat pastry meat nearby.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? And there is a hair cushion element to it. I'm not making that up, right?
No, yeah. So
there you go.
You've basically seen it. That's fine.
I don't want to waste your time, like.
Yes, this was finally a fun song. It's got a bouncy rhythm to it. It has a kind of almost sketch show, music video type feel to the camera work
Master
of it.
of the house, pissing in the wine. Don't you know that I leave behind a trail of slime? Everybody loves the landlords. Wow, wow, wee, wow. It was fucking great.
A fun bit where he's chopping off a cat's tail, putting that in a mincer. There's a human leg going in a mincer.
That meat. You know what? Whoever was making the props, who made that very upsetting, very believable, like all my knowledge of zoology and meat all kind of combined to say that is exactly what that would have looked like in real life. Fair play, fair play. And then there's like the sexy bit where Hello Bonham Carter is like, master of the house, his dick is very small. Don't get me fucking started about his fucking balls. Hey! It gets grotty, is what I'm saying.
It gets grotty, it gets boardy, it's full on boardy.
There's a drunk Santa in there as well.
Yeah, I'd describe this scene as best of British, mate. This is proper stuff, this.
Yeah, this is funny because not even Sacha Baron Cohen actually being the only person to do a French accent and, you know, stick with it the whole song long. Everyone else just takes that as an excuse to be like, scoring all the goals. Put a fucking song me now. Everybody loves the goalie. Stay that fucking one over there. But seriously, best of luck though in the big match that's coming up.
Cheers, mate. Can't wait. I do like the little recurring goof of Sacha Baron Cohen getting Cosette's name wrong.
Oh, he calls her Courgette at one point. I love that.
Good
Come on.
stuff.
Should have went further. Call her Congress. Stuff like that, you know?
And I did get worried when... So he was arriving to pay the Cosette debt. He's paying that off so he can get Cosette.
Yeah, he really is like insistent here. He's coming here to buy this, you know, sight unseen. He wants the child. That is straight up the transaction that's going to happen.
Getting the child, going looking after the child. I was worried at this point we might be moving away from the only moment of levity in the whole film. But luckily, these characters do recur.
You know what I like as well is that when he comes in, they try all their little tricks. Like, you know, Helen Bom throws down the handkerchief for him to pick up and he ignores it. And Sasha tries and swaps the hats. He swaps them right back. He doesn't do any of their foolery. He doesn't fall for a bit of it.
He pops the mankini on and he doesn't even have a look. He's not even like, that's weird. He's like, yeah, that's fine. You know, that's how he chooses to dress.
He had enough rope to hang himself there. He didn't. That's what happened there.
Why is Hugh so invested, Jean Valjean, so invested in being Cosette's new dad?
Because he made a vow to be a better man and he feels responsible for Fontaine living a life of destitution. Because it is pretty much definitely his fault. She sings as much at him. And that responsibility passes down a generation. It's an inherited responsibility that he has now for Cosette, a.k.a. Courgette, a.k.a. brand new Corvette. And he just has to follow through on it. He wants to be a better man.
It's basically his commitment to the whole, I'm going to be a good guy and I'm going to reform myself and I'm going to be good. So he's kind of channeling that into, I'm going to be the dad for this child.
And there's literally a bit here where he stops singing because he's sick of their shit. He's like, look, here's the money now, right? Enough of this, all right? No more. No, don't you start up that bass line. We're not having any of it.
And so Hugh and Cosette, they're escaping from Javert.
Did you just call her Cassettes? Whoa, rewind. Did you just call her Cosette, dude?
They're escaping from Javert. They make it to a convent. No, sorry, not a covenant. A convent.
A convent. They made a covenant at the convent, but no convents require a covenant to enter.
Oh, well, that's all very convenient, isn't it? They make it to this place.
I told you about my confidence in confidence.
They make it there.
In the convent, no less. If you're not going to respect it there, where?
They make it there, and the fellow who works there was the guy who was trapped under the cart before, and so he's like, "Oh, you're a good guy. What are the chances?"
And this is all spoken as well, because and I thought that was brave of him, because the easiest way for him to recognise him would have been like, "It's me, remember?" And he's like, "What? You know, na 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 na. Let's lift up this big cart. Yeah, there is a horse on this old fart. Yeah, that was me. I'm the old man."
Meanwhile, Javert is singing a sad little song. He's up on a rooftop singing this sad little song.
I love his sad little song. His is the way of the Lord.
He's just sad that, like, Jean Valjean is out there and free, but he's like, I'm going to get him. And I wrote down what a fucking dweeb about Javert here, because he just seems like an absolute fucking loser. Just
That's
like,
true.
Oh,
You can really, like, posture most of this song as, like, kind of a stroppy teenager. Well, if you fall as Lucifer fell with the flame up the stairs and the sword.
So 9 years later now, I can't remember how many years we've covered here.
It's 9 years later.
17 years or something like that we've covered already in this film. We've done
Mr. Cumulative Timeline. What is this, The Witcher? Come on, calm down. It's 9 years in the future. We've got different hats now again. We shuffle the hats. It's 9 years in the future.
How do you feel about the little urchin boy, the little kind of Cockney but Parisian geezer little boy?
My name is Crozet. I'm from the Beagle. Hey, chuck a little tumble. Master, there used to be a king, then we orcs tried to overthrow him a bit quickly, and now there's another king.
That's my thoughts on the little boy.
Okay, so now this would be the point where you'd kind of dip out here.
Yeah, this is where I get up and I make dessert or whatever, and I come back and everyone's either fallen asleep or moved on, and I'm like, you know what, let's just do something else. It's the best bits. Eddie Redmayne and his Wallace and Gromit looking face while singing is coming up, so there's not much left to do.
So Teddy Bedtime, he's all Viva la France, but he's
Eddie Bedtime is just the best. Like, genuinely, you and I could market some children's books and we'll call Eddie Bedtime. We take it to the men at Ready Breck. Look, that's the new Maplins for us at this point.
Maybe we've got a chance. But he's all Viva la France, but he's a secret posho. He's a man of wealthy origin.
Yeah, honestly, when I was watching him this time, all that was going in my head was your London interpretation of Jack Skellington as guy who comes back and is a little bit posh now, like, you know? Like, see him singing, "No, you guys, you don't understand, they're called small plates."
So he's basically like one of these bloody posh slacktivists, you know. He's just kind of coming in and, oh, revolution, yeah.
He's more of a clicktivist, but he's like a slacking
Slickety click, clackety clack, this guy.
I don't like him.
No, I don't want to...
No. I don't like him, and I've always had a sneaking suspicion. I know I've not watched this bit of the movie much, but I've always... He treats Epony like he's so horrid to her in this.
Horrid. Yeah.
Why? Because he's a posho, and she's come from a ne'er-do-well background. He only has eyes for Courgette because her name sounds like so many fancy things that he's probably familiar with in his Parisian Paris lifestyle.
Yeah. Also, 9 years later, like, everyone's here. Javert's here. Again, he's turned up wherever we are now.
Paris.
Hugh and Cosette are here in Paris, and Sacha Baron Cohen and Helena Bonham Carter, they're there as well.
There's loads more as well of just the general impoverished masses. They're like, look down, we are British now. There's a lot more hands coming out and a lot more people being like, an urchin, a whelp, all sorts of wildlife.
Yes. I mean, so the whole story with Eddie Bedtime, that he's like smitten with Cosette, I keep calling her Cosette, and is kind of like not really paying attention to Eponine, but she's secretly in love with him. I feel like that plot... Like, I'm smitten with this girl, but there's a girl who loves me and I don't pay attention to her, but she secretly loves me and talks about how much she, pines for me. That plot is done in, like, every fucking musical. I don't know if that's a plot that can only be expressed through singing.
Where it's this person loves me, but for no reason I like this other person. And I'm not even going to acknowledge... Epony pretty much dies, by the way, spoiler alert, before any of that comes out or there's any sort of a chat about it. He just firmly over and over and over tells tells her to his face, oblivious like a fucking nyuk, that he's not in love with her, that he's in love with this person that he's not even met.
No, he's just
Come on
seen her
now.
from a distance.
Right,
Come on,
I know
mate, grow
you
up.
watched Mean Girls and you think that she's the cat's pajamas, but it's 4 years later in a very different movie. Move on.
Move on, man. Also, Eddie's singing voice is very, very posh. It's exactly what you expect. I can't really do it, but...
Red, the blood of angry men. Black, the night that ends at last.
But then he's like,
Red, the favorite colour, courgette. And black, I like courgette.
him and all his student mates are going like, yeah, let's start a revolution. And he's like, yeah, I fancy this woman.
He literally sings to someone, discover where she lives, please.
Well, he teaches that to the girl who's secretly in love with him.
What? That's creepy, dude.
Cosette is very excited about Eddie as well. They're both mutually in love with each other from just seeing each other, which is kind of interesting.
I've watched enough Married at First Sight Australia to know that this is headed for nothing good. Nothing good.
No. And Hugh's having to do is kind of like, I'm sorry you have to spend so much time with me, your fake dad who doesn't tell you anything about what I actually did in my past life.
But if you were to ever find another boy, I'd kill him in his sleep. You must only stay with me. You're not real father. No, I refuse to tell you anything. Can you know I'll tell you nothing? Just fucking wait. Hold on.
And Cosette and Eddie, they have a little interaction, and he's very, terribly sorry, bibbly bobbly with his interaction. Oh, I love you.
If I was to steal a kiss.
Shut up. God, now.
Ebony's looking on just like, I'm really in love with you, Eddie Redmayne, but you won't pay attention to me. So, again, the thing, like, he's having to hide from Jean Valjean and, get out of the way. But I'm like, he surely should be like, I can hear you singing fucking love songs out there, you pesky kids.
Rattling his cane like, stop
I know where you are. You've been singing how much you love each other to each other. Be quiet, please.
And Epony is so in love she won't even help her dad rob a dude's house. Oh my God.
Yeah, I got confused by that. And her dad's like, I'm going to rob these guys. She's like, no, I'm not. Does she stop him from doing it? But then the hubbub of that.
She screams. He's like, if you scream, I'll make you scream like a little girl. Right. And then she screams, and then he hits her, and then she screams some more. And as this is all happening, the commotion, Jean Valjean is like, come with me, Cosette. We must make way our passage to England. It's coming home. Jean Valjean is coming home to England, where I would assume they all speak in a French accent here in the 1800s. Some sort of a cultural mass exchange of accents has taken place.
That would be a good goof if there was some England scenes and they all had French accents and spoke French. That would be a bit of fun, wouldn't it? I'd like that.
Epony gets this really sad special song where it's like, just so you all know, yeah, it's pretty much what you're seeing. It's as shit as that. Can you fucking believe it?
Yeah, the song is called On My Own. And look, apparently this is one of the more popular ones, On My Own. And it wasn't really moving me as much as I thought it was supposed to, even though the song is good, the performance was good. You've got the same kind of tight close-ups of someone being emotional.
It doesn't have the same connection there for me. This is a second, possibly even third tier song. I'm not ashamed to say.
But the kind of plot of the song that I love someone, but that person loves someone else. I've listened to enough Weezer albums for this sort of thing to be exactly my kind of jam, and yet here we are, and I'm like, nah, I'm not really feeling this one. But this is one of the big ones, this one, apparently.
Yeah, and we kind of know to this point, I don't know, in the movie, that Eddie Bedtime's voice is growing more and more Muppet-like as we... he's literally just... he may as well have his hands kind of clapping together in that weird way, like Kermit the Frog. We're all very excited for the revolution, everyone. Yeah!
It almost has a kind of Morrissey twang to his voice when he sings sometimes. Like, I can't do a Morrissey, but they kind of...
He's in charge as well, because the general they all love, he's dead, he's toast. So he's pretty much in charge with the other boy. I don't know. Doesn't seem like he's cut up for the job of a revolution.
No.
Do you want a third king? Is that what you want? They'll stack the kings like in drafts.
And so there's this song, I think is it One Day More?
Yes, One More Day.
Where everyone's singing their own little bits, and we're kind of seeing where everyone is, and the thing is, it's kind of big, coming together centerpiece thing where you get to see all the characters.
Oh God, yes!
I genuinely had this thought. Without realising, I thought when I was watching this, everyone seems really miserable. And then I was like,
thank you.
I genuinely was like, they all seem so fucking miserable. Oh, yeah, okay, I get it now.
Now you say miserable, Javert is fucking jazzed up. He's excited. We'll be ready for those schoolboys. They will wet themselves with blood. Jesus Christ. They're going to have problems with their kidneys. There's no dialysis in ancient France.
Well, does he mean wet themselves as in piss blood? I'm guessing it's like they will be wet with blood from when I kill them, but it just sounds like they're just going to be pissing blood out of their dicks.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like, because the other thing is just making it a little bit, I don't know. If someone's like, I'm going to kill you, whatever, but if they're like, I'm going to wet you with my swords, and then you'll be all wet with blood. No, thank you, please.
Like that. But this definitely felt like the bit where at the end of this song, you get a big applause break.
It's all the bits coming together, the individual parts. You get a little bit of Master of the House in there, you get a bit of Jean Valjean's bit in there. It's fucking beautiful. It all comes together. Like any musical worth its salt, this is always meant to be the bit where everyone's like, fuck yes, come on. And like in South Park, the movie has got that one, the Tomorrow Night, that it's musicals 101 pretty much.
Yeah.
It's the bit I always look forward to, because it's the bit in a musical where I realise if I like the musical or not. Because if you're listening to this bit and none of it what they've shown you, it's like them coming out with like a tasting plate of all the things you could have at the restaurant. And if none of them tickle your fancy, it's not for you. But if you realise, actually, I like that bit, I like that bit, I like that bit, then, hey, presto, you've just liked the musical, which is why you could also turn it off here and nothing would really be lost.
No. It does feel both a kind of centerpiece and also maybe a finale if you wanted it to be.
Yeah, it could be.
Okay, yeah.
But I will say, and if you've joined us now and you're post-Matin Cut and you're at the potential second Matin Cut here, I will just tease you at this point. Not many people will stop at this point, because I will tease you that later on in the movie, Master Javert's going to take a little tumble here. So stick around for that.
Yeah, revolution is starting to happen. There's a little song here.
Do you hear the people sing the song of angry young men?
He's spying Javert. He's snuck in amongst the revolutionaries.
He looks so much like a spy in like a Civilization game or something like that. I have a small flat hat and look wise beyond my years.
My name is not Javert. I'm not him. He's
guys,
over there.
Check it out. It's not Javert. Let him in, guys. Yeah, he is so obviously not on their side. He's old enough to be all their grandfathers, knowing this time this was made.
I've realised how much fun it is to just say Javert and sing, my name is Javert. I am Javert. Javert. That is
There's
fun.
also the Javert cut, which is just the word Javert said over and over for 2 hours 46, And then, of course, Javert, he's a rubbish spy. He's much better as a policeman than a spy, because the little kid straight away is like, oh, no, that is...
you are the policeman.
The kid's like, boy, this mug's a fucking grass. Let's go, boys, and beat his ass.
He says his name is Javert. Scream for me, I don't fucking care.
That little boy is dangerous, I'm just saying.
Brutal.
Very brutal in his
Proper
tactics.
geezer, this guy. So Javert gets beaten up, taken down, captured. But that doesn't stop the kind of big showdown between the revolutionary people and, I guess, the army? Is this the army?
The French army,
French army.
And of course, you might often associate kind of, you think, French revolutionaries, is that the kind of with the French flag? No, they've got the red flag, the blood of angry men. And then you're fighting against what is this strange, and it's a period of history I don't know much about, but, most of us probably, especially those of you in England who, according to Sam, didn't learn anything about it, but I assumed, Bastille Day, French Revolution, off with the heads of Louis and the gang. We got the Republic. And no, we've got another king here. It's very, very, very interesting. I like history.
I'm aware of history, and I don't know enough about it. I almost feel at this point there should be some sort of spin-off thing where I just learn some history, because there's big patches missing from what I know. I think, the like concept of cinema swell is like, oh, Sam hasn't seen any films, but I think I just have. I think I might just be a bit of a fool and I just don't know stuff. Like I've just missed out on loads of bits.
You say that, and then you've got all these wonderful skills and abilities as opposed to useless pub trivia knowledge, which the rest of us have, which is not really that much good.
So big showdown here, and Eponine, she gets shot protecting Teddy Bedtime.
And Teddy Bedtime, by the way, right?
it's fun, isn't it? It's a bit of fun.
Man, I got proper. Like, I've not had this in like 25 years where I'm like, oh, I would really love Teddy Wolf just right now. But when he said Teddy Bedtime like that, it was, man, I need him in the house right now.
Teddy Bedtime.
They're literally being attacked, and he's like, I got a letter from Cosette. Head's not in this game. He's not ready to be a general.
Well, the woman who loves him has said, here's a letter that I intercepted for you from Cosette, but I love you and I'm dying. And to be fair to him, he does do a bit of, I wish I could heal your wounds with love and say some things to you. And then as soon as she fucking dies, he's like, right, I'm sending a letter back to Cosette now, because she's gone, so I'm going to quickly write up a little letter to get this romance going.
Is this the 1800s French Revolutionary version of letting someone down gently by text? Is that what this is? Because it was very cold, it was horrible, and it shouldn't have been done.
Well, he literally lets her dead body down gently to just be like, you are dead now, you're gone. But yeah, so he's sending a letter back to Cosette.
And Jean Valjean intercepts it and reads it like a big weirdo. I must know its contents.
And the contents are basically, I'm probably going to die, but I love you and you love me too, but I'm almost certainly going to die. Yours sincerely, Teddy Bedtime.
And he's moved by this. He thinks I should go and I should help this lovely little teddy bear. And that's all I should do now, with trying to be a good man, as JVJ is always trying to be.
JVJ, he sneaks in again amongst the revolutionaries, but they're like, we don't fucking believe you, mate. We just had this Javert prick doing that. But he kind of proves himself by shooting some baddies or something.
No. They're like, oh, we'll leave his fate to you. And he's like, I will kill Javert. And then he frees Javert and pretends that he's killed him. And he's like, I know you're just doing your job. No big deal. I'll respect your commitment. Look, there's them out there. They'll be calling you a Jobsworth and all other sorts of nasty names. Man, I'm working stiff like you. I know what it's like. I understand what it's going to be. He's basically putting the same patter on someone you would to effectively not get clamped if you caught him in the act.
Yes. Yeah. That's what he's doing.
Respecting their position, but there's never a second where you're not essentially pleading with them to understand your case.
And the bit where he's like, I'm going to let you go, and also I'm going to tell you where you can find me if I get out of this alive. It's a strong move. It's a strong move from Jean there.
It's a strong move from Jean there. We cannot appreciate Johnny Boy and what he's done there. It's a strong move. And he sings a song about sleepy Marius being only a young boy and wanting to bring him home. Now, this is something that no one's going to relate to. No one is going to be cradling the arm of a rich 20-something-year-old who's taken up some random cause on a whim. No boomer's going to be cradling you in your arm going, oh, yes, I understand it. He'd be judging him, and that's the cut of the man of Jean Valjean right there.
Well, Jean Valjean is, I think, obsessed with kind of being a kind of surrogate father to sort of potential
How
kids.
many
He's
fucking
like,
surrogate children does he need? Like, God almighty.
Now he knows that he's like vulnerable and going to die. He's like, I want to look after him as well. Yay! So
look, he's my Teddy Bedtime. You can't have him.
Bring him home. So he's going to bring him home. It's coming home. It's coming. Bedtime's coming home.
I literally thought it would be in poor taste now to bring it up again, and then just like
I'm very excited for the big game.
Yes.
Speaking of which, fight time. Big fight time. Little urchin boy is shot dead.
And there's fuck all revolutionaries left as well, and the people remain criminally unstirred. And the little boy is basically like, ripping his top of like, come on, have a fucking go. You fucking go put a tag on me. Come and fucking put it on me then. And he smacks him in the head and downs with a Carlin, and then is tragically shot.
Yeah, fully shot, dead, that guy. All of Eddie's little barricade boys are blown to bloody bits.
The boy's got a buff from the boy. Like, that did kind of rally them all up. But a boy buff will only get you so far against cannons. And there is, to quote a famous saying, cannons to the left of them, cannons to the right and a good deal of cannons in front of them as well. So, there's no buffer's going to get you out of that.
No. And so those guys are down. Eddie's been shot.
Oh, and he becomes a proper fucking Wallace and Gromit character when he's shot. He's like he just fucking gurns out his lips. Jesus Christ.
And Javert, right, walking along the bloodied streets of Paris where all this has gone down, gives his little medal that's on his little uniform. He gives that to the dead urchin boy. And look, I understand that that's meant to be symbolic and emotional and show that he's like feeling something. But who's that helping? That boy's dead. Why are you giving him your medal now? You've helped no one.
Oh, he's not helping. It's going to cause nothing but consternation. The boy will be misidentified. They'll think Javert is dead. And then he'll have to come into a courthouse and clear his name. Look, if there's one takeaway from Les Mis, is that the bureaucracy of both the Republic and the royal family, we could do without it, basically, is what we're saying.
Yes. Meanwhile, Hugh and Eddie are down in the sewers. Eddie's all fucked up and shot and dying.
Shit. Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah.
Proper,
Hugh Jackman covered in sewer gunk, basically just covered in shit. It is quite funny, the amount that they just make him look.
Yeah, he's like, to borrow a phrase from, like, if they were having, like, big chips that were like garbage chips or whatever, he's smothered in that sauce is what he is.
He really is. And Javert's found him.
He's literally smothered in 3-day-old beef. Delicious.
Oh, God.
Tried the new garbage pail today.
Javert finds them and he lets them go.
How many times are we going to have a fake out like this? Come on now, you tease me with that confrontation.
What is this? Frozen because of the amount of letting go. So he's in
I
a real.
see what you did there.
He's in a real bind about how he feels about this. He's let a criminal go.
He's broken.
But the criminal helps him get his life back. He doesn't know what to do. Conflicted about the kindness, conflicted about how he feels about justice and himself and his duty and his role.
There is nothing on earth that we share. It is Jean Valjean or Javert. And oh my God, like 100 eggs been dropped at once on a very hard floor.
I'm so glad you said that, because the bit where Javert kills himself, it was quite emotional, but then the sound of him hitting the ground.
They knew what they were doing. The lads in the Foley were like, hey, check this out.
I laughed so much at this because I didn't expect that noise to come. That was fucking funny. That was very funny. It's a funny noise. And it's a sad moment for Javert, who is my favourite character. But good Lord, that was fun.
Now, I know that I still don't think the world is ready for this great idea that I have. It's a huge idea. It's big. It's pretty much my retirement plan. But movie mashups, we take bits of movies that you love and we know work and we just kind of insert them as an option. Like it would highlight at certain points. You want a movie mashup based on your tastes on Netflix or whatever. I'm just saying, like the Austin Powers bit where he won't be dead. And you might think, that's inappropriate to put that bit in there. But there's already precedent because they used it again in the second Austin Powers movie.
Right,
on verbatim. So there is precedent there. You could have stuck it in there, but have Javert sing the lines. Come on now. You get another check for Russell Crowe, which I'm sure he won't say no to. I think, just think about it.
I think it's worth a shot.
You know what? I'll put that in the hothouse and let that incubate, yeah?
So Eddie, he survived, but he's very sad about all his friends dying.
And everyone's inspired by their deaths as well, which is a very dangerous thing to say because they're making out that people weren't inspired already. Like, loads of people have already died in the revolution. And like, but we're inspired now as well. Damn! Come on now.
But I don't think Eddie cares about that too much because he's now with Cosette and he's happy now because he's got what he wanted. He
realised his goal of true independence for the French people was simply not worth pursuing anymore. He's hanging out to dry. He's hanging out with that fucking crook grandfather of his, the rich lad, selling out the police. It was just a few years travelling around to the revolution and finding yourself, and now you're back at the firm now that you're getting married, is it? You fucking sellout.
Also, if I was singing a song to my true love, who I'd come through, being shot and battle and hardship to be with, I wouldn't want her weird fake dad in the background singing some shite in harmony to what I'm singing. If I was like, I love you, Cosette, and just her dad be like, and I also am here as well, and I like things.
There's a lot here that's slightly inappropriate. First of all, even by his standards, Teddy Bedtime singing in this song, the very words they have shone he's pretty much like, he can't be trying his hardest there. He can't. Stop it now. He can't.
Well, I don't know.
He can't. There's no way that they thought, you know what? Nailed it. You got it there. Imagine subtitling that. Have you got a script or what?
And so there's this whole bit now where Hugh sings a little song to basically recap the whole plot of the film to Eddie and just say, Jean Valjean,
Oh, how shit
24601.
is this? He's been stringing on Courgette the entire movie, be like, I'll tell you later, but first I must tell this man I don't know. He tells him everything. That's not fair.
Confesses his past, says, I'm going to clear off. And he does clear off.
Without saying goodbye to Courgette either as well.
What a rude man. At the wedding of the two young lovers here, old Borat and Helena Bonbon, they're here to try and blackmail Eddie because they're
The
saying
original Wedding Crashers.
that Jean Valjean, it's something to do with the ring.
It's the fact that
They nicked something.
he knows that Jean Valjean is like someone who he's not claiming to be, essentially. So he knows that he has a secret and he has tried to extort him for that. And he thinks that by telling Eddie Redmayne that this lad is Jean Valjean, that it's like, you know, the lad who saved him that night and snuck behind the barricades, that's going to be like something that he can use to blackmail him. But he's just delighted because it means that JVJ fucking saved him that night. Also, give him the ring back.
So he's got the ring back. It's been revealed that he was saved by Jean Valjean. And at this point in the film, my TV started saying that it was going to shut down because I think it assumed I had fallen asleep or left or gone away or left it on.
Oh, it's one of these warnings where Nintendo are like, oh, don't have your knees up for too long and make sure you take a break if you're having too much fun and all that.
My TV was basically like, I'm going to head off to bed now. I assume you've fallen asleep.
One of us
See
should
ya,
attempt to
goodbye.
save power for tomorrow.
And Hugh, he's all old and sad and wants to die. He gets a vision of dead Anne Hathaway. His fake kids find him.
It's nice though. You get this nice transition
you're
from
good.
them seeing him and being like, oh, okay, I forgive you for your many, many, many sort of sense-making lies and deceptions you've pulled over the years. But he's already been like taken up and brought away by Fontaine. And it is very much like, again, like in The Sopranos when Tony thinks he's going to, you know, a house in this dream where his family are and he's brought in and it's all lit up. And who's like, oh, look, the priest is there. Your friends are all here. Come on in. And I thought,
Buscemi's here.
first 7 times I saw that, I thought, you know what? That's beautiful. It's very beautiful. But this most recent time, and I have recently watched The Sopranos in case you might have noticed, I suspect Jean Valjean is in hell.
Right.
Because think about it though, he's there, right? And he meets a lot of characters, right, that is there. But almost everyone who's there with him has lied in some capacity, including the priest. And what are they doing? They're all defending the fucking barricade against an invisible enemy forever. That's the never-ending wetting of blood. I don't know. It seemed like, and they're all like, yay, we are happy, the fight will never fucking end. It's a dead revolution is what it is, and it's never gonna end. So I think he's in hell.
So you think that's hell?
Otherwise, he went to purgatory, my friend. That's the only other explanation.
Notable absence from that bit, Javert, who may well be in heaven while everyone else is down in hell because he was a truly honourable man and lived by the book of the law.
No, what would happen is that his corpse would go to jail. And there'd be like a cyclical thing of him being born in a jail and him being in a jail in the afterlife.
But we end on the big heaven barricade, everyone's singing
Tomorrow comes. Tomorrow comes. And there's a lot of that, a lot of kind of tomorrow and the day after that. We fucking crash down there. A nice, tight little movie that is. You know, not a lot of flab on that tight bod of a movie.
Oh.
Sam has me singing the same 3 keys over and over again for various characters, even if it didn't make sense. Has that swayed your opinion at all?
Here's some of my thoughts. I did mention to you just before recording that I hadn't really written anything fun down in my notes, and I was a bit worried that I was going to struggle here to say anything fun about this. I have enjoyed talking to you about this film and singing
you're
little
separating
bits
the art
with you.
and the artist now is what's happening here.
I've enjoyed going, Javert, I'm Javert. I've enjoyed saying Javert.
You should go and watch some Les Mis YouTube poops. It will make you laugh. I guarantee you.
I do like Javert as a character. I do like bits of this. Look, I concede that the film is technically from a direction standpoint, visual standpoint, performances standpoint, singing standpoint, apart from maybe Teddy Bedtime and a few
The
other
two
bits.
main characters or the three main characters.
The audio production is great. I know technically it's very good. And I know it seems like it's quite faithful to the musical, and it was a big success.
And you know what? It's something that's worth pointing out. There are a lot of musicals, including like big ticket ones that I watched and I was subsequently very disappointed by, like Chicago and Phantom of the Opera and Cats and all that, where it's meant to be a theatrical release, but it is literally like they just went into the theatre, they bunged a camera in the middle there. And I don't know if you've live streamed anything during a pandemic from an art centre, but this is a movie that is using the guts of a great musical. And I've always wanted to see this on the stage, but what is important is that this is not a stage show. This is, they're doing stuff that could only be done in a film, and I really like that.
Yes, I did like that. I think the fact that it is a stage musical and it's adapted into a film has its issues, I guess, in that the spectacle of the film nature of it is taken away from by the songs, or vice versa a little bit in my head. Like you kind of have to focus on one.
But it's like trying to rub your tummy and pat your head at the same time to like listen to a song and appreciate it as a piece of music and also know what they're fucking talking about. Like the first time I watched this movie, it was just white noise pretty much. Like, you know, I wasn't taking anything really. It's a grower, but I hazard a guess that you're not going to be running back to watch a 2-hour, 40-some minute movie on a rainy day.
Well, I'm scared now because in talking about it with you, I feel like I've been infected with some kind of love for Javert in this film. Like
it's a Javirus is what's happened.
Yeah, and I think like I would probably enjoy it more watching it again passively and singing along to bits and kind of making fun of it.
Yeah.
But I have to be true to my initial gut reaction and how I felt watching this. And oh boy, it's a slog. I think it's an undeniably too long film. I know it's based on the musical, and musicals are long.
Did you toe tap, hum, sway along with the chair jive? Was there any sort of effect that the music had on you while watching it? Did it sweep you up at any point?
There were some of the bouncy Cockney Geezer songs that I liked and I kind of felt going along with. I Dreamed a Dream is obviously a banger.
Is that the best song in the movie? Or I mean, what are your faves? You mentioned Cockney ones. Are we thinking Master of the House or what would you say is your fave?
Any of the Helena Bonham Carter, Sacha Baron Cohen stuff was fun and I enjoyed. I Dreamed a Dream, the performance phenomenal. Anne Hathaway did a great job. But I think a lot of the other songs, there's so many of them, they kind of wash over me.
Yeah.
And this little recurring melodic stuff, which is like a leitmotif, but I think they use so much that they're almost heavy motifs. Good night.
Hey!
But none of them were bangers enough that I'm like, I'm going to listen to that soundtrack again. And the soundtrack is the whole film. It's just listening to the whole thing again.
Because I think Grease had a few bangers in it for you, right?
Yes. Yeah. Grease had bangers. This doesn't necessarily have bangers.
We're not going to be filling the floor at a wedding with songs from Les Mis soon, are we?
No, which is not necessarily the point. I understand that. But it was a lot to get through and it made me tired and bored.
Did it remind you of Lord of the Rings a lot? Because you teased on Twitter like, oh, this is a long movie, and everyone assumed that you were sitting down to watch The Hobbit. But no, I got my way in a different way is what happened.
It's similar kind of like I just got restless in my seat. And I don't want to imply that like every film that's over 2 hours is insufferable. I don't think that's the case.
No, because we had Goodfellas, didn't we?
Yes, and I enjoyed that. But I think it was just too much for me to take.
Come on, give it to me.
I got bored and restless. I could appreciate it. Javert was fun.
Kill me, I am here. Come on, do it now. What is your star wipe rating for Les Misérables?
I almost feel like this may change and I may soften and sweeten to this over time, but I'm giving Les Misérables 2 star wipes.
Oh, you heard it here first.
Oh, thanks for listening to another episode of Cinema Swirl. This episode was produced by Kevin, edited by me, Sam, and I also did the music. If you want to support the show, then patreon.com/Cinema Swirl is the way to go. If you want to follow us on the socials, we're at Cinema Swirl on Twitter and facebook.com/Cinema Swirl on Facebook, which is where our votes for episodes take place. If you've got questions, queries, comments, or anything else for the mailbag, then send it on over to cinemaswirl cinemaswirl@gmail.com. That's cinemaswirl@gmail.com. Please do keep recommending the show to your friends if you think they'll like it, or even if you don't think they'll like it, just recommend it anyway. Oh, and if there are any bits in recent episodes that you think would make particularly nice video clips, you know, the kind of thing we've had on our socials recently, then send us a tweet and let us know. Alright, we'll see you next time. Cheers, bye.